Hello and good morning, everybody. This is Mike the Microphone here to do yet another dramatic reading for this Dramatic Reading Month. Today we bring you a story by Mr. Interrobang Pai, good friend of mine, by the way, called Spike's Selfish Everted Desires. Yes, that title is intentional. Author's note. Pai's story, or amazing fanfics, which he wrote without using the backspace kg ever at all. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is Spike's Selfish Everted Desires. Onic once upon a time, in the land of Equestria, Twilight Sparkle, the purple lavender unicorn, was getting to Reday to go to bed. Before bed, she always has a nice steaming hot bubble bath in which to bathe in before going to bed. She got up from her desk from reading The Wonderful Aft-Ventures of the Cult Cuddlers with Laser Dicks and trotted over to the bathtub in the bathroom. She turned the atip tap, and the hot, steamy, bi-bubbly water started to rush out before because it was a magic tap which created the water which was at just the right temperature. She didn't even have to wait for the bath to fill up because it was a magic bath which magically filled up with water when the tap was turned on. Twilighty dipped her hoof into the bath water to make sure it was okay, which was rather redundant since the tap made the water just right for her. She put her hoof in and said, "Oh," gently. On the other side of the treehouse, a sleeping baby dragon overheard Twilight's moan, and his ears began to perk up. And soon he woke up. It was little Spiky Wikey's favorite time of the day. Bath time, or more specifically, Twilight's bath time. He sprang up and darted toward the bathroom door, peeking his head in. Just in time. Twilight was just about to get into the bath. She reached her hoof back as if to take off a pair of socks, but then she remembered what a stupid sub-meme socks were and that she wasn't wearing any socks anyway. Unbeknownst to her, she was giving the onlooking Spike a perfect view of her choice arse. Spiky's eyes lit up as he grabbed his throbbing member. Twilight then started to climb into the bath, giving gentle moans as she climbed in. This only pleased Spike even more, who was now clopping quite furiously behind the door. I wonder if there was any dragon equivalent of clopping, like clawing or umthing like that. Who knows? Anyways, Twilight was climbing into the bathtub. When after she was fully submerged into the bathwater, she gave out a long, endearing sight sigh, which thus caused Spike to cream all over the door. Spike tried to quieten his moans and grunts as his huge dragon cock oozed men's semen and twitched around a little. He didn't want to let Twilight know of his whereabouts. However, Spike still remained as hard as a rock, wearing full diamond armor. This was due to his spiky sense, which is basically like a pinky sense, except it only activated whenever Twilight was in bath. When his spiky sense is activated, Spike got a raging boner. Since he has figured this out, he has been using his time wisely. Anyways, Twilight was still pissing about in the shower bathtub, still not clearing what Spike was mere meters away, fantasizing about fucking her. But Twilight was getting bored of her bath now. She needed some action. She quickly glanced around for anything could possibly entertain her, and soon she found the perfect thing. Mr. Quacker's, her favorite rubber ducket. She sloshed around in the water and swiped away the duck from his little perch and, with no hesitation, thrust it to flotation toy into her vulva. Her head swung back as she screamed in pleasure. Meanwhile, Spike couldn't believe his baby dragon eyes. His clopping or clawing accelerated to roughly Mach 1, whilst Twilight used her magic to penetrate herself at the speed of Mach E. That's Mach 2.72 for you mathematically inept readers out there. Twilight continued to fuck or duck herself for a good 30 seconds before she decided it wasn't nearly enough to pleasure her to the fullest extent. So she looked for something else to shove in her horsey vagina. She found the perfect thing lying next to a box of dildos, a toilet brush. She quickly started to pleasure herself with the newfound toilet cleaning device. Spike thought to himself, I know one thing that Twilight could pleasure herself with. My huge spiny penis. Thought Spike. You see, Spike wanted Twilight really badly. Like, really, really badly. So badly, in fact, that Spike started to grow slightly. Meanwhile, Twilight was in the bathroom, spilling water everywhere whilst experimenting with various improvised sex toys, such as a shampoo bottles, and that floaty rock thing that I forget the name of. Pumice, whatever. Her vaginal passages were now pretty much full of things she found in her bathroom. Actually, that was a lie. This isn't a lie, though. Spike started to grow and want Twilight so much that his dick started to poke through the door, and he broke the ceiling because he was so tall. Twilight now noticed the presence of a dragon penis in the bathroom and exclaimed, Spike, what are toy you doing? Spike replied in an incredibly gruff voice, Twilight Sparkle, I want to so bad. Spike extended his arm and it reached down and withdrew Twilight from her bathtub and held her up in the Ari. By the way, Spike and Twilight were outside now because Spike broke the roof so everyone in Ponyville could see, including Princess Celestia, who was vacationing Ponyville on a visit. Spike didn't care though because he wanted to wreck Twi's little pussy. Really besad. So he positioned Twilight just so and thrust his cock into her lady bits zone. Twilight's vulva had never been stretched this much before. Spike completely filled her cunt. She screamed in terror and pain, but Spike didn't pay any attention. Spike could just continue to fuck her brains out, although not literally, of course. The pain was so great that Twilight's cunt started to bleed, and she started to scream again. Spike noticed the blood dripping all over his dick, and so decided to switch holes. He pulled out and saw Twi's cunt was now completely mangled wreck. Twilight sighed for a second and wiped the tears from her eyes because she thought Spike had come to his senses. But in fact, Spike had not come at all yet, and he quickly inserted his cock into Twi's tight little asshole. I said asshole, not arsehole. This pained Twilight like never before. She literally started crying and screaming in tetroar. Her screams were blood-curdling, and the sea citizens of Ponyville just looked on in absolutely sheer fear. All apart from Twist, who was clopping furiously because this was he fetish. Anyway, Spike was just puoting away at Twi's shithole, and Twilight was in so much pain, attached she started to pee and shit everywhere. However, Twilight's butt was inconveniently plugged up with Spike's cock, so the shit had explosive results, and soon, Spike's dick and most of Ponyville was caked in the residue of Twilight's dinner. Which just happened to be hay caviar, however you spell it. Unfortunately for Twilight, Spike had a piss and scat fetish, so the sight of Twilight's fecal matter on his dick aroused him enormously. Spike was getting close. He started giving out little gruff, deep pants and moans. Applejack, who was onlooking the display appalled, recognized this. Secretly, she had fucked Spike before. Oh shit! Excuse the pun, please. Applejack exclaimed. Anyway, Spike were mere nanometers away from his climax now. Twilight, he stuttered, and in one ear-piercing roar, Spike came. The amount of cum that Spike was displacing was greater than the amount of water in all of Earth's equatorial seas and oceans. It came out at a force that was greater than the force of 1,000 newtons. The force was so great and powerful that the semen ripped through Twilight's body and internal organs. Indeed, Twilight exploded. Her internal organs and blood and bones scattered everywhere, as well as Spike's dragony stick cum. For a couple of minutes, Spike came harder than he had ever came before. And now that he had satisfied his one desire, he started to shrink again. He landed with an oomph back inside the library, greeted by a very angry bunch of ponies, namely Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Rarity, Pinky, and Fluttershy. They literally started to beat the shit out of Spike because they were not happy that Twilight was essentially dead. However, Princess Celdistia then walked into the library. The pony stopped thrashing Spike's poor little head and bowed down to Celestia. Celdistia gave them the signale for the ponies to rise. She approached Spike. Sand, she magically healed him. Spike the dragon, come outside with me. She took him and the other 5 ponies out to look over Ponyville. It was absolutely caked with the stench of hay, caviar, and fecal form, the smell of rotting flesh and blood from the now-deceased Twilight, and the vomit from the 1,000 ponies who had to witness the entire event. Spike, Ponyville is now in a state because of you fucking Twilight's brains out, she said, looking at Rarity, who had Twilight's brain on her head because she had decided that Twilight's brain would be the next big fashion thing. Yes, I'm very sorry, Spike said, as the background music started playing for one of Princess Celestia's lectures. I couldn't have satisfied my selfish, perverted desires, because now all of Ponyville has to suffer. Next time I want to fuck a pony, I will have to think about the possible consequences, so that new Boetti suffers. What do you mean nobody suffers? Said Pinkie Pie, holding a warm batch of cupcakes. Look at all these warm cupcakes I made with the Mist Mouse Spike! Oh, Pinkie Pie, that's such a shitty reference, Rainbow Dash said. Rarity, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, and Spike, and Celestia, and Applejack all laughed heartily, and they all lived happily ever after, except Twilight, who died happily ever after. The end! Well, that certainly was a very magical experience. iPie, I have to say, you have quite a way with words. Anyways, so this has been a dramatic reading of Spike's Selfish Everted Desires. I hope you all have enjoyed. I'm gonna go shower now. Goodbye.